Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahushai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, I was going through my news feed and this video popped up and happened to just press play. And it actually mentioned something that we have been teaching on for the last year and a half, something like that. So it just kind of goes to show you that these other nations are listening and they're trying to explain the information that we're bringing out, but they do a very piss poor job at doing so. And this is how it's supposed to be here at the end. There are other nations are getting hit with information that they maybe have not been privy to before or felt the need to expand upon or to learn about, because pretty much anything that we say isn't really supposed to be taken seriously. Now, we've been talking about the pastors who, of course, don't make any sense. They come up with their little sermons and their things that they want to talk about. But see, even what she's going to say right now is still congruous with the feelings that most of these Gentiles have. They're always trying to explain away their actions. They're always trying to make it seem as if we are playing the victim card all the time. So you got people who even come and try to, as we bring out information, you might get some people in the comment boards trying to talk about John 3:16. And you try to talk about all these different scriptures out of context. They always try to explain to you these scriptures like it's, again, the white man's burden, and that they have to try to come in to our sphere of influence and teach us the right way to interpret the scriptures. They were able to do that when it was their blessing, and they felt that it was a white man's burden to bring civilization to the world. They haven't gotten a memo that we're not in that era anymore. They still think that we care about their breakdowns. We will listen sometimes just to get a laugh, in case we want to get a chuckle. We'll, let them come in and run their mouth a little bit and just kind of like laugh, and get a little chuckle, and then we just move on. Their time of trying to break down our scriptures is over with. So we're going to listen to a little bit of what this woman here has to say and her breakdown of things as far as history is concerned. But see, when they've been lied to about their history, that's all that they have to run back to: a fake and false history. See, they still think that they were the original French. They think they are the original Brits. They think they're the original Irish. And the stuff that they've been handed down through their school systems is the truth. That we're all African Americans. That none of us were here. Or, she's going to talk about a little bit about what's going on over here thousands of years ago, which is kind of funny. But you can tell they might scratch the surface a little bit, but they will definitely not try to take that knife and go ahead and dig deep in that cake. They don't want to do that, because we can quickly destroy all the stuff that they're talking about with these books that their people have hidden. When you got pictures from the 1600s of our people being here in the Ogleby book, that's kind of hard to refute. When you got the Atlantis books, you got a revised version and the first edition, and they show us as being the people of Palenque. That's hard to kind of dispute, especially when you see the older editions and they took that out. When you got all these different drawings, murals of our people being in the pyramids before the Indo-Europeans got over here, that's hard to refute. So they just hide all that information. So we're gonna listen to a little bit what she has to say, but we'll refer back to actual what Scripture says and not her opinion. Let's go back to about the 13-minute mark. I don't want to waste. Actually, we'll start at the 12-minute mark. I don't want to waste too much time, but we gotta listen to a little bit. Sometimes we need a little chuckle, and that's what we're gonna give right now.
Catholic, and honestly, from the records that I know, they weren't Vatican Catholics, and Louisiana never has been. The Vatican has never been like a big deal. They are Catholics, but they were more like, how do I say it? More like, I don't know. They were just they were like the early church. That's what they were. They all, brought their money together. They helped each other. They did all these things. And
they always talk about the early church and how coming together would not be a communist to them. Coming together, gathering your money together, is taking care of each other. They keep saying things like that. I like the early church. That's like us. You guys have never been like that. You guys are all about me, me, me. There's no such thing as working together with you guys. Only time you work together is to take down Israel. Besides that, you guys are all about yourselves. You work together to take us down so you guys can get your 200 acres each and 180 acres each. That's when you guys work together in order to destroy, rape, rob, and murder another people. So I can never find a time when Christians or Catholics were like that. The early church is talking about the Israelites who came together in community and worked together. It wasn't Gentiles and Edomites. It's not in your nature to be like that. That's why when you guys are in authority, the whole world mourns, because you're not about working together. You're not about telling the truth. So when you guys try to, again, like everything, you come over and the early church were the Hebrews, and you just got rid of all that information, and now you're the early church. The British, the Irish, or so-called black people, you guys scratched all that out, and now you guys put yourselves in those positions. Let's continue.
And they just didn't want people running all over them, and that's what got them killed and ethnically cleansed by the greed. There was a lot of greed going on here because they wanted them to the money, because they were bringing in a lot of money because of their trade and because of all the talents that they had, the skills that they had. It was just it was a really horrific situation. And I believe that that's really what made Louisiana so strong, and why when we have hurricanes, we're not around crying about it. We just get up and do.
And they're always making that whole thing about crying about things. That's us. When they keep talking about, just standing around and crying, woe is me, they're always referring to us so-called black people. Because, we don't pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. We just cry and want a handout. That's what their mentality is all the time. And that's really what she's referring to right now. So let's continue.
And unfortunately, over the last 2 decades or something, people have become this victim, this whole victim mentality, where they live in America, which
now, that's it. They're talking about the last couple of decades. It's all been about a victim mentality. Now, see, after you guys have raped, robbed, murdered, stolen everything, kept it for yourselves, hidden our history, made all these laws that went against us, kept our people in prison, tore up our families. Now they want to say we're playing the victim card. And like I said, and that's the way most of these people think. So we understand that. But see, now the Most High has been keeping track of your, and this is, and your, what you guys have been doing, and the fact that you don't own up to anything. And now he's going to pay you back. I don't understand why that's such a hard concept. You have to pay too. So after the next 1,000 years, we're going to see how you feel. And we're going to see if you're going to play the victim card as well. Because the Most High is going to destroy you. And he's going to enjoy doing it. And we'll see what card you will play after that 1,000 years.
Almost all of our ancestors, when you go and actually look back, so many of our ancestors, something occurred that made them come here. And yet we still have people acting like they're the victims because this happened to their ancestors and that happened. That's what I wanted to look at. See, because people always want to bring up the Native American thing.
Okay, hold on. That's what she's going to get into. Something that, you know, is what we've been talking about for the last year and a half. Other people have been talking about it even longer. Okay? And I just find it pretty funny that she's talking about it. But hold on. She's trying to use whatever happened to her ancestors back in Britain. It forced them to come over here. So things happen to them too. So I guess if something happens to you on another continent, that gives you the right to come across the waters and rape, rob, murder, and steal. And then you can say, well, that everybody does that. No, everyone doesn't do that. See, that goes back to the scriptures when we talked about how the Most High had already divvied up the lands. He gave Shem the best lands, the ones that have seasons. He gave Ham the hot lands. He gave Japheth the cold lands. And it was an agreement that they were not allowed to go and take other people's lands. So no, that's what you guys made up. That, oh, just everybody does it. No, you do that. You guys are the ones that run around taking everybody else's lands. And then make excuses like, well, everybody does it. But see, that comes with a curse. Those actions of going and stealing people's lands has now brought a curse on your people. On top of the fact that you killed way more of us than you were supposed to, that just heaps on more curses. Maybe that's why you're getting double. Not only just what you did to us, but also breaking the covenant made with Noah and his sons. But now check this part out about the natives, okay?
And what they don't look at is how friendly they were with the Native Americans.
They try to make it sound like the pilgrims that came over here were really, really nice to the natives. You hear the BS? This is the devil. How the devil twists everything. No, you came to their lands. They could have just killed you, but they were nice enough to try to help you. But you guys switch it up like, oh, well, we came over as Christians and we were really nice to them. You see that? Let me go back just a little bit so you can hear it all the way through without me stopping, okay?
And yet we still have people acting like they're the victims because this happened to their ancestors and that happened. That's what I wanted to look at. See, because people always want to bring up the Native American thing. And what they don't look at is how friendly they were with the Native Americans. If the people like the Acadians and the Spanish and the French weren't here and they just let England come, England would have just wiped them all out. None of them would be alive right now, to be honest. They would have had no problem doing that, just completely wiping everybody out. But those of us that y'all persecute, if you're even watching this video, that you persecute all the time, talking about, oh, you white supremacist, you this, you that. You're not only historically, factually wrong, you're just being ignorant.
Now we're stupid. See how it is again? Anybody who talks, actually, comes up with their own opinion, we look at facts and we actually form our own opinion outside of theirs, are considered to be ignorant by them. This is how they've been the whole time. If you don't agree with them, you have actually, I don't know, you read other books. I don't know how you get more ignorant by getting more information, but that's their opinion. But like I said, this is no different than most of these, Trump supporting. It doesn't even matter for the Trump supporters. Dems are the same way. They act as if, all of them, they all act as if we come up with our own, conclusions to things and it doesn't agree with what they say, we're ignorant. That's why they always try to keep us out of the limelight, hide our information, because they don't want people to realize that, hey, hold on, there's another group here that actually says they're the real people of the Most High, and they actually have real proof that they are the children of the Most High, actually out of the Bible. And through history, they show how the Bible actually goes with history and the things that have happened to them. But you shouldn't listen to them because they're all ignorant, even though we're not going to give you any facts of anything whatsoever. Just the lies that we've come up with. So excuse us if we think that a lot of the churches are white supremacist organizations, and that many of these people have been nothing but rape, rob, murder, and lie. Forgive us for being ignorant, I guess, but that's how most of us feel over here.
Because if we weren't fighting for y'all, which the majority of people were, then you would not even be here today.
Oh, I guess we should say thank you. I guess we should say thank you because you guys supposedly helped fight for us so that, or else we would have been wiped out. No, the reason we were not wiped out, young lady, is because the Most High said we wouldn't be. The Most High would cut down our numbers, but he was not going to destroy us utterly. But see, that's what happens when they don't read the scriptures. They make it seem like it was in their hands to just absolutely wipe us all the way out. Trust me, if they had that power, they definitely would have done it. If they had the power to just wipe us out and have us not be a people once again, they would have done it. Because it's not in them to give grace and mercy. So the only way that we received any kind of grace and mercy and are still here is by the power of the Most High, not the power of some groups of so-called white people that decided to help us out. If they decided to help us out, it was for one of their own gain. They would probably try to help us out so they can enslave us and make us work for them for free, and then have us tell them thank you. Let's go.
I'm not saying it was right. It was terrible. But because
there's no buts. That's what they always love to say. I know it was horrible. It was terrible. But they say that, no, there's no but. It was horrible and terrible. That's it. After you hear the but, that means that there's some excuse coming. Here comes the excuses.
Fought back and said, no, these are our friends. We've been here. And something a lot of people don't realize is that, honestly, the Hebrew people, not the Jews, the Hebrew people came here likely 2,000 years ago.
So which Hebrew people is she talking about that was here 2,000 years ago? The Hebrew people, but not the Jews. That's what I was talking about. Like how we were talking about how we were already here. See, they don't get to tell us that we were only here 2,000 years ago. We were here thousands upon thousands of years ago. The artifacts prove that. It wasn't just in 2000. It was way before that. Our people were already here. But the fact that she's even bringing this up shows you that the message about us being the Hebrews were already here. And that they were killing and destroying the Hebrew people. That dogma and that understanding is getting out into the mainstream. So now the mainstream is having to deal with, hold on, if these people that we killed were the Hebrews, then what's going to happen to us? You see what I'm saying? So just the fact that she's even bringing this up in this video, and I kind of came in right when I kind of jumped on the video. This is exactly what she was talking about. So I figured the Most High wanted me to kind of bring this out because she was talking about the Indians and the Hebrews being together, 100 or 1400 years, 1500 years before the Europeans even got here. So there must have been something that caught her, she heard about or whatever else, or Spirit moved her to give her that information, and now they're trying to explain it away or just skim over it and keep on going. This isn't that part one more time.
The majority of people were, then you would not even be here today. I'm not saying it was right, it was terrible. But because we fought back and said, no, these are our friends. We've been here. And something a lot of people don't realize is that, honestly, the Hebrew people, not the Jews, the Hebrew people came here likely 2,000 years ago, and had already was living with these people, the Cherokees, I know Cherokees for sure. I don't want to say any. I know that anyway. It's a whole long story, but you have to look at everything in a big picture. But I had a letter from one of the chiefs of.
Yeah, I want to stop on that part. I'm going to move up a little bit, but like I said, the point. I don't know who she's talking about. The so you're trying to say Ish was here, or are you talking about a whole different people? We knew that it was what you call today the so-called African American people. Definitely some of the natives, possibly. Like I said, every group, our people is mixed into every group that you guys have come up with these names today. Our people were spread out all over the continent, up and down the continent. And some of the other people were aligned with our people as well. Because they knew that if you bless the Israelites, then you'll be blessed. So even other groups that weren't necessarily Hebrews were still, some of them were aligned with our people and worked with our people and were receiving the blessings because they were blessing the Most High's chosen people. There are many people who chose. Remember now, they came and asked Enoch if he could be over them. They came and asked Solomon for wisdom. So you don't think that we had alliances with other nations? Of course we did. So now you look at today. What does it talk about now? The people who cleave to the Most High's chosen people are going to be what? Blessed. Just like they were blessed back then. So it's not just going to be the Hebrew Israelites that are going to be blessed. It's also going to be the ones of the other nations that cleave to the Most High's chosen people. If you're given that knowledge and understanding by the Most High, count yourself very blessed to understand that. Instead of cleaving to the priests of Mahan who are lying to you about absolutely everything, you're now given the opportunity to cleave to the Most High's chosen people. We're going to skip up a little bit. I want to say to around 23-minute mark here. Let's start about 22. Make sure I get this part.
I believe that we were forced out of Britain so we wouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah, here we go. I'm going to go back.
And, and I know boys outside cutting wood and doing stuff rather than playing on their video games and being depressed about the corona. Listen about corona all day. See, they didn't have to go back to school just yet and have to wear the mask and do all that. It really was like this break from this world of the beast system. People were, like bartering kind of, but giving people cooking for everyone, like the church, we cooked for so many people, thousands, I don't know, tens of thousands of people. and people just in the neighborhood. They were just taking turns cooking. I made some red beans and rice one day, just a whole big pot, and that's what we were doing. That's what they were doing, and that's what states' rights is about. And neighbor helping neighbor, and not living in this alternate universe of at least 25% bots, and you're getting angry about bots doing these things. You have to look at the good in all of these things. I mean, most of the articles that you find about this, it's like, what would America have been like if this wouldn't have happened? They were such beautiful, amazing, loving people. Yeah, they were. But I believe that we were meant to be in Louisiana. I believe that we were forced out of Britain so we wouldn't be there. And, and I know African Americans and people from other countries that say the same exact thing. They say, yeah, it sucked that my great great grandparents were brought here on a ship or whatever as a slave, but I'm in America.
Oh, wow. Or whatever. You guys are right here on slaves or whatever. But you know what? I'm in America now. Thank you. See, that's their whole mentality again. Just skip over all the horrible, heinous things that we did. Just, yeah, you guys are in America now. Even though you set up all the laws against us. You extracted free labor for hundreds of years. And you guys have all benefited from it. But we should just get over all that. The Most High is not going to get over all that. It's not about us. The Most High will not get over all that. The Most High will not let you get away with doing all that and then not recompense you. He will not let you sell away, our fathers, mothers, and children, and then think he's not going to do the same thing to you. That's not up to us. Here we go about America. Okay, here we go.
I'm not in Nigeria or the Congo where, y'all, and that's another thing. People are very delusional about what was going on at these times. They tried to downplay that there wasn't really cannibalism going on. Yes, there was. There still is in some of these tribes. Not in just Africa, I'm talking about in South America too. And oh yeah, we brought all our whiteness, whatever. You could still be a cannibal, or you could be eaten yourself. There's tribes right now that still do the same thing. They wear body parts of people that they killed around their necks as like medals of honor.
So see, there it is, the white man's burden once again. Your whiteness, whatever. Yeah. What exactly did you guys do when you got here? Now, see, the thing is this. You guys say that there was cannibalism. When I read the books talking about Cortez, from his own mouth, he said he did not see any of those things going on. So how can we trust what you guys say? You guys will say anything to justify what you do. You guys have now lied about what happened on the 6th. If you can lie about, the storming of the Capitol and ignore all that, something that we all saw on television last month, if you could just lie and ignore it and act like it didn't happen, then how in the hell can we accept anything you guys say about what happened 600, 400, 500 years ago? We can't. If you're going to lie to us right in our face, like, oh, it was a good thing. You guys are lucky that we decided to bring you over here on ships, because we could have left your asses in Africa and you would have been just eating yourselves or eating each other. You see, that you guys are doing anything to justify all the horrible things that you've done. Those days of people just, okay, well, that sounds right. What you said, that's not going to happen anymore. making it seem as if you guys didn't kill hundreds of millions of people. You guys were ripping out babies. You guys talk about, how you guys are pro-life and whatever else, but your people were cutting babies out of women's stomachs and feeding them to dogs. Or you would throw babies up and catch them on your knives, on your swords. All these horrible things that you're not going to just be able to say, yeah, bad things would happen, but no, there's no buts. The Most High. So it doesn't matter what you guys say. The Most High has already ordained that you're going to have to pay for this. So it doesn't matter what you guys say. You destroyed the Most High's chosen people. You destroyed his people. Now there is a payment that is now due. So if you want to keep on saying the white man's burden and it's we had to come here and civilize you, that's not going to work anymore. And if there were cannibals, the thing is this: in any society, you're going to have people doing bad things. So that doesn't mean you get to destroy the whole society because a few people might have been doing a certain thing. If you look at this society today, you want us to judge you guys on what a small portion of what people do? Of course not. You guys always make an excuse. Oh, well, it's just a few bad apples. When it's police officers shooting us down, it's just a few bad apples. Well, what if we just judged America on just what the few bad apples do? We can find plenty of bad apples that do horrible things that can justify all the horrible things the Most High is about to bring onto you. So you can't keep using those excuses because not everybody was doing that. And even if you want to use that excuse, then you being brought over here means that we served our judgment. When you got here, you're not going to find people doing the best things. That's why the Most High brought you over here, because we were going off. We served our punishment for the last few hundred years. So now it's your people's turn to serve your punishment. Now you're upset. We served ours for all the horrible things you said we were doing. We paid for that already for the last few hundred years. So now it's your turn to pay for what your people have been doing. Now all of a sudden we're going to pull out the forgiveness verses, the love verses. We're all sons of Abraham. Oh, we're all out of the curses now, even though you guys have never been in them. That just shows you the utter hypocrisy of your Christianity. See, we serve two gods. You serve white Jesus and the God of this world with the priest of Mahan. We serve the Most High, the one who created everything, the Father of absolutely everything. That's who we serve. So you guys are praying to your little, good times Jesus to be able to get out of this predicament that you're in. We've now come back to our Father, and we're now praying for the restoration of our people, and we're praying for you guys to be swept off of our lands. So now let's see who wins. Let's continue.
So, yeah, you could look at it like, oh, those terrible white people just came tearing through here and just, yeah, but do you realize what was going on? There's so many things that were going on. It went from French to Spanish to this. The white people lost too. And if you watch Game of Thrones, or if you've ever watched it, and all those white people are killing each other, that's exactly what was going on in France. In what we call, it was France, Germany, all these places. It was about territory and tribalism.
Really? She's using Game of Thrones now as a point of reference for history? Oh my goodness. Well, like I said, that's just like people who use the movie Left Behind as their whole basis of prophecy as well, right? Because they can't go to the scriptures and find anything, so they got to look at movies like, I don't know, Game of Thrones and Left Behind. Let me read a little something actually from some scripture about what happened here and how the Most High has talked about these people that were brought from other regions and what he thought about them. Okay, let's go to Baruch chapter 4, and let's see here. We'll start at 14. Baruch 4 and 14. Let them that dwell about Zion come, and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting hath brought upon them. So the Most High brought you, as you like to call yourselves, so-called white people, over here to destroy our people. This is prophecy. I'm sure you probably haven't read this before, but get yourself an Apocrypha. See, this is what the churches have hidden because they wanted to hide their hand in prophecy. 15. For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverenced old man nor pitied child. Yeah, young lady, that's your people. Right there. Most I was telling you, you are a shameless nation. So you're going to be ones that are going to be like, hey, we helped you guys out. You guys should be thanking us. Okay, and of a strange language. Yes, you brought your languages over here. We didn't speak your language. See, that's what happens, So you guys trying to act like you guys were bringing such great things here. The Most High brought you here to destroy our people. Okay? Let's see here. You guys neither reverenced old man nor pitied child. You destroyed our old people. You did that on purpose because you wanted us to lose our history. The old people were the ones who handed down our history. So that's why you did not reverence, old man. You did not reverence our history. You did not reverence our understanding. In fact, you wanted to go out of your way to make sure that we didn't get any of that knowledge and understanding. Nor pitied child. You did not, talk about the innocence of children. You could care less about the innocence of children back then. Now, since, Planned Parenthood's only been around since the 1970s, all of a sudden now you want to skip about how you did not pity children back then. You did not pity, you didn't pity the little kids you were killing, the little kids that you were raping. You didn't worry about that back then. But all of a sudden now you've grown a conscience in the 1970s and on. And all of a sudden now you're all about the unborn child. You guys are just nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. 16. These have carried away the dear beloved children of the widow, and left her that was alone, desolate, without daughters. But what can I help? What can I help you? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies. See, we weren't all about being victimized. We knew what was going on, and we took our punishment. So you guys don't want that to be brought back to your guys' attention. It says, go your way, O my children. Go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace, and put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he shall deliver you from the power and hand of the enemies. And that's exactly what we are doing now. We got our knowledge, understanding back. We know who we are again. We know where our lands are. And we're doing what we were told to do. O my children, cry unto the Lord, and he shall deliver you from the power and hand of the enemy. So you guys have hidden this because you didn't want us to go back to our Father. You didn't want us to get that understanding once again. You wanted us in your churches of Mahan to be under the tutelage of your pastors and priests. Because for my hope is in the everlasting, that he will save you, and joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting, our Savior. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but God will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever. Like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our God, which shall come upon you with great glory and brightness of the everlasting. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that has come upon you from God, for thine enemy hath persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction, and shalt tread upon his neck. My delicate ones have come rough ways, and were taken away as a flock caught of the enemies. Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto God, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was your mind to go astray, okay, from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. So yes, you came over here talking about all the bad, horrible things we were doing, and we paid for that. That's exactly what this is talking about right now. We paid for all the horrible things that you have done to us. But now it's time for you to pay. We're on chapter 4, verse 29. For he that hath brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy again with your salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoiced at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. That would be you. You guys received our sons, our daughters, our children. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from God. Lo, thy sons come from thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of God. I think that pretty much sums it up. You guys can make excuses for all the great things that you've done for us, but now it's time for payback. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahushai. Shalom.